Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor Current Affairs Connect. In this class, we are going to understand a very recent news, which is very important. It can be used both in environment and biodiversity also. Even you can use this data even in economy also. Historic milestone in power sector. Before that, we have already released mentorship details. For complete details, please go through the IAS Mentor channel. With respect to this issue, this is highlighted in PIB itself. You can see in PIB, Ministry of Power issued this statement. India achieved historic milestone in power sector, surpasses 500 gigawatt and renewable generation exceeds 50% of demand. This is very important development because so many efforts were going on for so many decades. If you consider 1970s onwards, India is one of the earliest countries to recognize the importance of environment in the economic development. We cannot destroy environment for the sake of development because development will not happen if you destroy the environment. So that is why both are interrelated each other. Since 1970s, India continuously taking various steps, and those steps intensified in 1990s and early 2000s. In the last decade, these steps even further increased. Even at the global level also, there was intense awareness and there was intense commitment also from across the globe to initiate certain steps which will not destroy environment. One of the important components which is destroying the environment for very long period is the power sector. Because for electricity generation, we need resources like coal. But when you need coal, you have to deforest. In that way, we are losing the forests. And you have to completely mine it. In that way, soil erosion and you are losing the productive soil. And another one, while you are burning the coal for electricity, then we are polluting the air also. In that way, coal sector is one area where power is majorly dependent on coal, but at the same time, it is also one of the most polluting sphere in economic life of every country, considering from industrial revolution onwards. That is why gradually there are continuous steps how to overcome this problem, how to generate energy not from coal but some other resources. Generally, they are called conventional sources. Coal is one of the conventional source, but non-conventional or renewable sources are going to be very important if we want to preserve the nature and at the same time develop sustainably. In that effort, India has taken so many efforts in promoting wind energy, solar energy, and other renewable energy sources. Now it is giving the result. That is what in that direction this issue is very important. It is one of the important expected questions also in the mains examination. Even for the prelims also, some facts are also going to come. We can analyze that. India achieved historic milestone, surpasses 500 gigawatt and renewable energy generation exceeds 50% of demand. Here, as of now, India is producing electricity from non-fossil fuel sources, renewable energy sources like hydro, nuclear, and other sources, 256 gigawatt, over 51% of the total. We are generating more than 500 gigawatts, out of it 250 plus gigawatts coming from non-fossil fuels. This is what very important. For the first time, we are crossing more than 50%. And that means it is a very big milestone. And in the coming few years or in a decade, we are going to achieve remaining things also. Fossil fuel based sources about 49% of the total. Even at the global level also, there are so many summits, conferences are going on, summits are going on, different countries are coming together and committing that we are going to reduce pollution. From our side, we also committed. This is one of the important commitment we have achieved. If we split it within the renewable sources, solar power around this and wind power 53 gigawatt. You just remember this one. Even though you do not require split of whether how much solar and how much wind, but you remember more than 50% of energy now is going to come from renewable energy sources. Now, during 25-26, India added 28 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity. This showing the how fast clean energy share is rising. This is just to show in the recent times also how fastly India is producing energy from non-renewable energy sources. Next, when it comes to one case study, here this kind of issue you can use in essays also as a case study, that in one of the occasions on July 29, 2025, India reached its highest ever renewable energy share in electricity generation. That day, renewables met 51% of country's total electricity demand of 203 gigawatt. Solar generation and wind and hydro generation. With respect to prelims, solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy are examples of fossil fuel based energy sources or renewable energy sources. Answer is renewable energy sources. These are prelims questions will come. When it comes to mains, you can use these numbers or at least use more than 50% of our energy is now going to come from renewable energy sources. First time, this is why. This is what important when it comes to prelims. This means that for the first time, more than half of India's power came from green sources in a single day, a remarkable sign of change. That is what this news has become such an important one, that more than 50% is coming from the renewable energy source. That's what our dream. That is the dream for so many decades. That dream achieved. But still, so many things are there. We have to understand even what are the various challenges to make 100% sources, 100% energy comes from renewable sources. Meeting national targets ahead of time. Here, there is a global commitment. In COP26, COP meeting was held in Glasgow, United Kingdom. 26th session of Conference of Parties to UNFCCC. Remember this also important question. UNFCCC refers to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This developed during 1990s. 26th session for this framework was held in Glasgow. In that, India promised 5 promises that India is going to deliver these things. In the coming future, India is going to produce more energy from renewable sources and we are going to limit our pollution levels. What are those? Again, these are the 5 points important for the examination also. 5 commitments. The term India has given Panchamrit, 5 goals. India's climate change goals in COP26 Glasgow, India committed that these are the 5 areas which we are going to achieve in the near future. What is that? Reach 500 gigawatt non-fossil energy capacity. 500 gigawatt. Now how much he done? 50% almost reached. 50% of its energy requirements from renewable energy by 2030. This is another important question prelims. Here our promise for 2030, we told to the world community by 2030 we will achieve 50% of our energy is going to come from renewable energy. But today 2025, that means 5 years earlier. This is why this news is so significant and it also shows how India is committed. When some countries like USA, it is not even respecting goals like this because their economy linked with those kind of industries. That's why Sometimes it won't even honor its own commitments also. But India is committing, India is achieving what we have promised. Reduction of total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons from now to 2030. If you take these five, 1, 2, 3, reach 500 gigawatt, out of it 250 plus achieved. 50% energy requirement by 2030 we are going to get, already this is achieved. Reduction of total projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons, it is yet to be achieved. Reduction of carbon intensity of the economy, that means per capita GDP, we are going to reduce at least 45% of the pollution levels if you compare with 2005 levels. That is also yet to be achieved. Achieving the target of net zero emissions by 2070, net zero emissions. That means whatever pollution we are doing and the pollution absorption levels are going to be net zero. So if you see how much you polluted, how much absorbed is going to be zero by 2070. That is a long goal that will go on. That's why what are the 5 principles or the 5 goals, Panchamrit goals? These are the goals committed by India in COP26. Where it was held? It was held in Glasgow, a city in United Kingdom. Out of it, by 2025, 5 years ahead, one of its goals achieved. That is 50% of our energy is now coming from renewable energy sources. Now, another major one here, to achieve the remaining things, what are the challenges India is facing? Why India is not able to meet fastly? No doubt one of the goals achieved, but still there are many challenges. That challenges are hindering the process of India. If we remove those challenges, we are going to achieve these goals also very fastly. This itself can be a mains question. What are the major challenges hindering India's renewable energy transition? Number one, intermittency and reliability issues. We are having a lot of places where solar energy can be produced and wind energy can be produced. We have desert areas, we have a long coastline where a lot of wind capability is there and solar capability. We are a tropical country. Tropical country is full of sunshine, no problem at all. It is having abundant source of solar energy capability. But when it comes to usage, solar and wind are not available 24/7. In night time, we will not get the sunlight. But for sunlight, we have to use whatever we produce in the morning time. Now, but our demand for the energy increases more in the night time. Morning time for industries, for other activities, transportation and all, electric vehicle, we can give. But night time, our requirement increases. And how to store this solar energy? That has become another major issue. Sudden fluctuations affect grid frequency and stability. We have a grid and this grid supplies to different places, but sudden fluctuation, night suddenly increases, morning time different, this grid has to adapt to these sudden fluctuations. That capability we are yet to achieve. This is one of the major challenge. Intermittency and reliable issues. India lacks large scale energy storage like batteries where we can store and use it for the future. That ecosystem is yet to be developed because India is not strong in manufacturing sector. We have to depend on other countries like China and other countries which are strong in their manufacturing sectors, and we cannot continuously depend on them due to geopolitical issues. If there is any issue between India and China, then the relationship will affect. And how can we source? On one hand, we have to fight with China, and at the same time, we have to depend on China. Now, China will use that element as a leverage. That is how it is one of the important issues. We need storage issue. We need storage capability because morning we have abundant sunlight, but night we will not get. For that, we need to store. Weak transmission infrastructure. Renewable energy is generated mainly in western and southern states, but demand is high in north and eastern part. In northern belt, in southern coastal areas, coastal areas will develop a lot of energy with respect to sun and wind, because southern region is in below tropic of Cancer. lot of sunshine. But when it comes to the population, consider like UP, Bihar regions, hugely populated, and a lot of energy demand is there in the northern sector. In winter time period, this energy demand will increase further, and that is another challenge: weak transmission infrastructure. How to transmit this energy from southern side to the northern side and northeastern side, and to the northern side into Kashmir. Green energy corridors are still incomplete. Green energy corridor means connecting renewable energy sources with the grid so that we can use that power across India. That infrastructure is yet to be finished. And when it comes to the infrastructure, if you want to create any kind of infrastructure, we have other issues like land acquisition issues, land compensation issues. Again, you have to depend on the forest area. If you clear the forest, again, what is the benefit of renewable energy sources if you are destroying energy, if you are destroying forest areas? This is the dilemma. That is another issue. Green energy corridors are still incomplete. Financial stress of discoms. Distribution companies which are distributing, they themselves are in the financial stress, and they are not able to meet their obligations to the banks, and banks are not giving them more funds. If they are not giving more funds, and discom companies cannot expand their infrastructure. That is why financial stress of discoms have high losses, poor tariff recovery, and delayed payments. They delay payments to renewable developers, discouraging investment. They are distributing, they have to get energy from someone who is producing. If they don't pay on time, and energy producer will not get motivation, and they will reduce the supply, and distribution companies cannot distribute, and overall people will not get sufficient energy resources. And that financial stress is creating major issue. And one more issue is in the transmission losses are also more when it comes to distribution company losses. High cost of energy storage and hybrid system. The batteries and storaging capability, whatever we have, they are very high cost, currently not able to met. Again, because India is lacking behind manufacturing sector. Indian government is taking steps in that front also. But at this moment, manufacturing these storage facilities are more, managing these difficult, cost is very high. We have to depend on other countries. As a result, if we depend on other countries, again it will increase the cost. High cost of energy storage, hybrid systems, green and hydrogen cost remain high. Land acquisition problems. Whenever you need any kind of infrastructure, you have to get land. And when it comes to land, you have to again displace the tribals. If you displace the tribals, and it is the lives of the tribals are going to be affected. Because if you need forest areas are connected with the people, tribals. And when it comes to the city areas, acquisition of these land becomes very costly. Again, it is becoming unviable. That is why land acquisition problems, conflict arise with the farmers, biodiversity areas, tribal regions. States like Rajasthan and Karnataka face prolonged land disputes. Next, dependence on China for solar components. On one hand, we have long disputes, long border. We have disputes with China. China will use our dependence for its advantage, and we cannot go forever. But as of now, we have to depend on China. Whenever such conflict happens, the supply of these components going to be less, and it is going to disrupt other components, other areas also in that chain of industrial components. India imports 75 to 80% of solar cells, modules, wafers, and inverters from China. Supply chain disruption in China affects India's renewable energy expansion. Domestic manufacturing under production linked incentive is still growing. India is yet to achieve self-reliance in manufacturing sector. Till that time, we have to depend on other countries. But if there is any disruption in China, it affects Indian industry. That is why policy uncertainty and frequent tender changes in state governments. For example, one government changes and another party comes to power. Sometimes what happens, whatever tenders issued by the previous government, new government may honor, may not honor it. And because of that not reliability, in future, people are afraid to invest. One example is with respect to Andhra Pradesh, it happened. One government has taken one initiative. The next government cancelled. But however, High Court reissued that it should not be cancelled. High Court later upheld the sanctity of the contracts. But anyhow, it will demoralize the investors, demoralize the people who are going to come forward for the infrastructure. It is only one example. Likewise, other states also, different parties may have different ideology, and when it comes to the government change, if the commitments whatever honored by the government, if they continue whatever may be the government, then people are ready to invest. But if there is uncertainty, then it will discourage these investments. That is another issue. Slow technological development, limited R&D in batteries. It is related to, again, manufacturing sector. If a manufacturing sector ecosystem is weak, R&D facilities, education, skills required for this sector are going to be limited. If ecosystem develops, gradually associated industries will develop. They will start training the people. Skills that are required for that ecosystem will improve. Even people also learn those skills because these skills are giving employment opportunities. In any society, if there is any kind of requirement, people are ready to learn those skills. But if there is no such ecosystem, people don't know what kind of skills that are required. And that is why the skills that are required for this sector are not developing among youth also. That is why that limited R&D in battery, offshore wind, smart grids, waste to energy technologies, they are less developed because again, it is connected with various issues, less funds, less ecosystem, and less skills. And once again, it's like a vicious cycle. If less skilled people are there and less funds are available, then that ecosystem will not grow. And if ecosystem will not grow, again people will not learn those skills. And if funds availability is going to be less, that is how that vicious cycle is creating very challenge for Indian sector. This kind of issues are applicable for other sectors also. Like in case of defense also, you can apply the same. In case of manufacturing sector, same. In case of renewable energy sector, same. Wherever these kind of issues are almost universal for our India's progress. Environmental and social concerns. Solar and wind farms affect bird migratory routes, grazing lands of pastoral communities. If you see the solar panels, these solar panels are going to spread large area, but this area is required for grazing. Now, the moment you keep these panels, now pastoral grounds will not develop and people cannot go for those places, they cannot go for grazing activities. And again, this for grazing activities, they have to depend on other land. And if they go to other land, again, it will lead to deforestation. In that way, environmental issues are also there. Now, it is another challenge. We have to come up with a solution how to generate more electricity with less space. Wherever wasteland is available, we can use it. But whatever land that is already used for the farmers, then we cannot divert it. That will create a new trouble. Bird migratory routes. When it comes to the bird migratory routes, if you wind turbines are there, this infrastructure is affecting the birds. And even the bird routes also going to be affected. The traditional places where birds used to come, and they will not come because of the new style of infrastructure. If birds don't come, it will create a chain of events. Birds are important in the pollination, that will affect. And if pollination affects, then again environment disasters are going to take place. These are one chain. If system is disturbed by one element, the chain of events are going to be affected because of that particular event. Next, hydropower impacts river ecology and displaced communities. Wherever people are there who are already depending on that particular ecosystem, they have to be displaced. If there is any kind of hydro dam, then whatever area that is required for the dam construction and the areas which are going to be submerged because of water, it creates additional trouble for those people where they have to be displaced. And if they are going to be displaced, now you have to give the compensation, but entire society, entire cultural values, entire social values are going to be disturbed by that. That is another challenge. As a result, it will take a long time to complete one project. It is another challenge in increasing renewable energy in our India. Next, lack of skilled workforce. Financing constraint. Renewable energy requires high upfront investment. Whatever investment that is required, grid infrastructure, green energy corridors, solar panels, wind energy infrastructure, they are all. It is one-time investment. Once you invest, it is going to give the benefit. But when it comes to the beginning time, initial investment is very high. And again, initial investment means private players, government having so many issues where government funds are required. Government needs to attract the private investors. Again, private investors will come forward when there is a benefit or when there is a chance of recovery soon. And if it takes a long time, then it will not encourage private investors investment, and private investors will go to the banks. And again, if banks will not get on time the recovery, then it is going to affect the savers. It is going to affect the people who are investing in the banks, who are depositing their savings in the banks. Now, non-performing assets will increase. It will affect the banking system also. That is why entire financial constraint is creating issues. Governments are having less funds. They have to depend on private players. Private players will go to the banks, and if cost is very high, recovery time period is very long, the banks will not get in return, then it affects banking sector also. If banking sector is affected, new private players will not get additional funds and they cannot invest in infrastructure, and as a result, overall infrastructure will not develop. It will take a long time. So everything you have to connect various dots. It's like a very delicate system. That is how administration means. You have to think in all the dimensions, because whatever step you take, it is going to affect multiple sectors. Banks are reluctant due to project execution risks, discount payment delays, access to low-cost long-term green finances remain poor. Because we need some kind of ecosystem where some people can fund such kind of infrastructure. They can wait for the funds to get recovered. That kind of ecosystem is yet to develop, like a venture capitalist or some kind of people who are ready to invest in such kind of infrastructure. Lack of skilled workforce, need trained professional personnel for installation, operations and maintenance, grid integration, hydrogen systems. These are all new skills, and our education system is not matching immediately to the requirement of industry. As a result, people are graduating, but they are not having sufficient skills which are required for the industries. Even though India is endowed with a lot of population, India is having demographic advantage, but the demographic dividend is not coming because of lack of skills, and that skills are important to develop these kind of systems. And again, it will be linked with education system, and it will be linked with the relationship between industries and education system. Whatever best talent is there, and they are choosing outside India as their destination because they are getting good opportunities there, and India can benefit out of that also. If India develops ecosystem, the people who are going outside India, they learn the skills from that society like USA, Europe. They can come back and they can develop ecosystem in India also, provided Indian government, central government, state governments encourage such kind of talent, so that reverse brain drain can happen. Brain drain took place earlier. Now, if India encourages them, they are ready to come back. They are ready to come and serve their home country. If government encourages, then reverse brain drain is possible. We have to utilize that talent as well. But as of now, that is becoming a challenge. It is one area where we have to think about. Skill development programs lag behind industry expansion. So this way, on one hand, industry expectations are high, industry, people's requirement, a requirement in terms of energy resources are high, but the skills that are required for producing more and the skills which are required for maintenance, operations, innovation, those skills are less. That is one major challenge, lack of skilled workforce. So these are the issues. When it comes to the solution, just you give the opposite. This is the problem and we need to resolve it. You explain one by one. Problem is this side. Solving this problem is our solution. If we achieve it, we are going to achieve some of the sustainable developmental goals also. Like Panchamrit goals, there are 17 sustainable developmental goals. Among them, some are related to clean energy. They are also can be achieved if we achieve this particular sector, if we achieve success in renewable energy sector. It will pollute less. Nowadays, cities are also very highly polluted because of dependence on fossil fuels. If we increase renewable energy sources share in our energy sector, then it is going to change the lifestyle of the people and the quality of life of the people. We can achieve the goals which India committed to the global stage also and for humanity. All right, this is what the milestone in achieving more share in the power sector from renewable energy sector. All right. For such kind of current affair issues, keep following the IAS mentor. Thank you. Thank you very much.